Welcome to week 3 of our University of Toronto course on law and aging. This week we're going to be looking at financial abuse generally and private care agreements. This particular lecture is talking about private care agreements and follows along the PowerPoint slides that you have. Private care agreements are a transfer of a significant asset or property, it's typically the family home, in exchange for a promise to care for an older adult. The typical scenario looks like this. Older adult, in this case, we'll call her Mrs. Jones, wants to stay in her own home. And because she's wanting to support her independence and keep into her neighborhood, which she knows and loves, she looks for different ways in order to do that. But she can't keep up the house and the property the way that she used to. And she's concerned maybe about falling and taking her medications. So she approaches her son to see if he would be willing to move in with her and help her to make sure she can stay at her own home as long as she can. The son may be trepidatious about doing this, or he might be quite keen, depending, but say he moves in. Quite often, private care agreements are informal, and so these are often not written down. So it may be that the son has given up some of his own apartments or sold his own home in order to do this and is relying on the fact that he will be then given the house at some future point. That may not come to be, or by contrast, it may actually involve going straight to the bank or straight to the lawyer and doing an asset transfer, so the home then immediately goes into the son's name, or it may be then moved into joint ownership. So the promise to have the property moved can happen right away, can be in joint right away, or it could not happen but be sort of a future promise. All of these things are private care agreements. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with a private care agreement, let me say that right now. But they are fraught with all kinds of concerns. First of all is, the older adult may not actually be able to stay in their own home because of the built environment, which is a fancy word for meaning how the actual building is structured. So if, for instance, there's a lot of stairs in the property, they can actually get trapped in a bad place physically for them. Alternatively, the expectations about how people will live together may not work. So the idea that the son and the mum may be able to live together with little difficulty may not actually be borne out. Many of you may have remembered what it was like to live as an adult with family members. Even if they're visiting, you can imagine that that may not always be just the very thing that you expect when you're older as well. So many changes can happen in people's lives. New relationships can happen. The older adult can start a new relationship. The son could start a new relationship. And it's unclear about who owns the property at some point. So there's a lot of different pieces here in private care agreements. So this is the end of the introduction. We're now going to go through the slides together. Thanks.